What's up, everybody? It's Scotty here with Flat Track Flashback, and well, it's about time to go racing in 2025. The Mission Foods Corey Texter Promotions Winter Throwdown is happening this week, and we've decided to do three little preview videos focusing on varying classes within the Corey Texter Promotions series, which is going to be kicking off down there in Callahan, Florida. Obviously, we open things up with the King of the Throwdown on Thursday night, and then the opening rounds of the Mission Foods CTR Flat Track Series on Friday and Saturday, January 17th and 18th in Callahan, Florida. So yeah, over the next 3 days here, we're going to be breaking down different classes. You know, last year when I did a preview video, I kind of lumped everything together, but we're going to split it up. So first day here on this video today, we're going to look at the youth and the vet classes. And then tomorrow we'll dive into the big bike amateur classes. We'll look at the novice class, hooligans, 250, 450, and open amateur classes. And then Wednesday, the day before the event starts, we'll have a little preview of the pro racing. This is all based off of riders who did pre-enter. So if you weren't on the pre-entry list, if you weren't one of the 753 entries that Corey has up on the Winter Throwdown event website, I don't have any research or anything to chat about, but that doesn't mean you can't race. Obviously, they'll be accepting entries at the track, but these previews are going to be based off of riders that I've looked at through the pre-entry list, and there's so many riders to get to. I won't be able to touch on everybody, but just a few names that stood out. And so day one, here we go. We're going to look at the youth and the vet classes. All right, so with the youth riders, we're going to start in the 50cc class, and a couple of names that stuck out to me. Obviously, Cruz Texter, Corey's kid, has been looking super fast lately, and Cruz picked up a couple of wins last year in the 50cc shaft. He's entered in the 50 air-cooled, the 50cc chain, and the 65cc class for Winter Throwdown. Obviously, looking to build on momentum that he's had all season long, and really looked fast at Nisa, South Carolina when we got to go down there back in November for the Southeast Flat Track finale. I feel like he's going to be the perennial favorite in those 50cc classes. Again, just the speed that we've seen out of him to close out 2024, and yeah, it's going to be exciting to see Sharkbait out there and leading the charge in the 50cc class. But he's going to have some serious competition down there. Ray Resendez coming in from California, pre-entered in the 50cc chain class. He had a 4th and a 5th last year in that class, and from California, he's had several wins on that bike out in Lodi. Curious to see what he can do as far as competing with Cruz in this class down there at Winter Throwdown. A couple other names that stood out to me in the 50cc class would be Caden Foudy, who's pre-entered in the 50cc chain and the 65cc class. And Caden is the track champion for the 50cc's at Lawrenceburg Speedway, that short track up in Indiana. And Maddox Weingard, who's been in the top 3 in all the SDTA starts down in Florida. I'm going to mention the SDTA series because it's one of the only series that's able to kind of run here in the winter months down there in Florida, as they are at Marion County Speedway a lot and running events there. And Maddox has been 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in all of his starts in their 2024-2025 season. So that's a few names to look at here in the 50cc class. Those guys, those little rippers, are going to be kicking off the weekend for us in Group 1. As we move into the 65cc class, we've got over 20 riders, and I think it's going to be one of the most exciting fields of the entire weekend. We talked about Cruz being fast on his 65. We also mentioned Caden Foudy coming down as well. They'll be running the 50s and the 65s down there. I want to look at Jackson LeBlanc, who swept the Panhandle Clash about a month ago down there in Pensacola, Florida in the 65cc class. And while he's struggled a little bit at Throwdown in the past couple years on the 65, he is the current SDTA points leader, winning 6 of their 7 starts. So he's got a lot of momentum coming into Winter Throwdown. Also got to look at Jackson Joyner, who was 1st and 4th on a 65cc at Throwdown last year. And if you're coming off a win from the year before at this event, got to be one of the favorites coming into this installment here in 2025. So Jackson Joyner is one to look at as a favorite on the 65. He's found a lot of success out in California, out at Lodi in 2024, and was the 65cc production champion at Amateur Nationals in 2024. A rider who's the 50cc chain national champion from Amateur Nationals last year, Odin Music, and Odin has been So much fun to watch. He is so fast on that 50. He swept the 50cc chain class at Winter Throwdown in 2024. So he's shown a little bit of speed already, moving up to the 65 throughout the year, and we're excited to see Odin hop on that bike and mix it up with this class again. The 65 class is going to be a lot of fun at Winter Throwdown. CJ Harper is the Lawrenceburg 65cc track champion. He'll be in attendance. Austin Osborne, his pre-entered, he was second in District 17 points for the 65cc, and he was the runner-up in this class on the second day of the 2024 Winter Throwdown. You also can't forget about names like Skylar Laux, Ella Nickens, Oliver Hartley, Reef Pendergrass. These riders are all finding their footing in the 65 class, and it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to be mixing it up toward the front. And again, this class is going to be really competitive. It's going to be super fun to watch. We've had the privilege of seeing riders like Walker Porter and Braxton Reagan, just to name a few, dating back to 2021. We've gotten to watch them grow through the sport from the 65cc all the way up to, some of them are now pros. With Walker Porter going pro this year, we'll touch on him in a couple days when we look at the expert classes, and Braxton, we'll touch on him tomorrow with him moving up and running 250s and open amateur. But it's so much fun to see these riders really get their start in these little bike classes and then progress through the ranks. And yeah, this is a fun class. I'm always excited to see how the 65 class turns out down there in Callahan. It's going to be really competitive. So the 85cc and super mini class. We've got several riders who are going to be contesting the 85s as well as the 65s. Jackson Joyner, Odin Music, all pre-entered as well as Jackson LeBlanc. So they're going to be, mixing it up on both fronts here. Jackson is the current SDTA 85cc point leader. He's got 4 wins and 7 starts in that class, and he's in quite a battle with James Parker, those two in the 85 and the Youth Open. Between those two classes actually have the same amount of points, with Jackson leading the 85 class by 5 points and James Parker leading the Youth Open class in SDTA action by 5 points. So those two have had quite a battle here in the Southeast on the SDTA program. They're going to be fun riders to watch. Also, I got to focus on Logan Higgins, who was in his 3rd year on an 85 at Winter Throwdown. He is one of the highest ranked, might be the highest ranked returning rider for this class. There's been a lot of riders who are moving out of the 85cc class, moving up to 250s. Logan has been a solid performer at Winter Throwdown in the past, from 50s to 65, and now into the 85cc class. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him and how he progresses another year on that bike at this track. He's going to have some stiff competition though. Talon Nelson is moving up into the 85 class. He actually won the final race on a 65 at Winter Throwdown in 2024. We've also got Cash Carter, who's in his 2nd year on an 85 at Winter Throwdown and looking to build upon some success that he found in 2024 in District 17, claiming multiple district titles for that rider. Speaking of local titles, how about Champ Curtis, who is a multi-class champion at Lawrenceburg? And then 3 other riders who I really think could make a big impact over here. First, coming all the way over from Australia, is Lucy Heaton-New, who was the Brisbane Cup champion in the 85cc class. Granted, the Australian flat track scene a little bit different than what you get over here in the US, but it'll be fun to have Lucy over here mixing it up with the top 85cc riders. I believe this might be her first time at Winter Throwdown. So we'll see. There was a lot of Australian success in the 85 class last year. Remember, Jed Fife was a stud on an 85 last year, not just at Winter Throwdown, but also at Amateur Nationals. A rider who's running a hot streak right now on the 85 is Wesley Settle. He won the opening day of the Panhandle Clash. The Settle brothers have definitely been frequent front runners with the Winter Throwdown. They've been very competitive every time that they're on the track, be it 65, 85. Jackson Settle moving up to the 250. So Unsettled Racing is going to be well represented, and Wesley had a pretty solid end to his year with the RPM race in DuQuoin Indoor. And a rider that I'm very excited to see in his 2nd year on an 85 at Winter Throwdown is Jaden Nickens, who's going to be helped out by that Turner Racing amateur squad. Jaden has seemed to adapt to the bike very well. He had a solid run on the Super Mini last year. Had a couple of rough spots. I had a crash in one of the main events at Winter Throwdown last year, but Jaden, a 2-time winner on a 50cc, was a top 5 rider on a 65. Now putting the focus on the 85, and And seeing him on some of these bigger tracks, like Mid Carolina being a little bit bigger than Callahan, Jaden has shown speed. He looked really strong at Lincoln. Again, a little bit bigger track, but it'll be exciting to see what Jaden is able to do here in his second year on an 85 at Winter Throwdown. It's a toss up. There's so many moving parts. Riders who have transitioned up into the 250cc class, and then some 65cc riders moving into this 85 and super mini division. The 85 class, north of 20 entries as well, going to be a tightly contested class, and should be a lot of fun. Moving on to our vet and our vintage riders. I'm going to start with the vintage class and looking at the pre-entries. I'd say Dave Tayo, probably the favorite to win right now based on the pre-entry list. Vet rider of the year. Last year, David Athanas was the rider to beat in that class. In the past, we've seen Evan Renshaw mix it up on a Rotax there. Robbie Bobby has claimed a few vintage wins. This class will be, I think it's going to go through Dave Tayo this year. Can't count out Rick Reed or Ray DeLoxo. Our Southeast boys, Southeast Flat Track regulars, Alex Childs and Steve Johnson will be part of that class as well. But I do think that just with how good of a rider Tayo is, based on the pre-entry list, I have to put my money on Dave. And speaking of Dave, as we work through the 50 and the 60 plus class, you'd have to imagine that he would be one of the favorites here. But he's going to have stiff competition in Davey Durrell. Davey Durrell was a runner-up to Joe Kopp in the 50 plus class in 2024, both days. Not a bad 1-2 punch there in the 50 plus class. And then Durrell and Tayo split wins in the 60 plus class last year at Winter Throwdown. So when we're looking at the 50, 60 plus class, I'm thinking Tayo and Durrell are going to be the ones to go through. Walt Bevins has been a rider who's been up front several times. Also, Greg Boyle is going to be really tough in that 40 and 50 plus class. Greg recently picking up wins at Mid Carolina Speedway. Greg was second in both races for the 40 plus class in 2024. He'll be looking to improve upon that. He's got 3 race wins in Winter Throwdown history. And Greg has also won all of his SDTA starts in 2024 in the 40 and 50 plus class. Now, another rider to keep an eye on here in the 40 plus class is Dave Kilkenny. We can't count out Dave. It's a rider to for sure keep an eye on when it comes to some of these vet classes. He's a very spicy rider, and it'll be fun to throw him into the mix here as well. These classes have seen Robbie Bobby win quite a few races over the past. Robbie also stepping into a new role and being the technical director for Corey Texter's series this year. So Robbie not able to compete on these amateur days, and it does blow the door wide open for some guys to add to their win total or to pick up a first-time win, which brings us to the 30-plus class. And here it's kind of wide open, but I'm looking at William Cato and Kyle Snyder as being sort of the favorites based on the pre-entry list and what they did last year. Cato coming off of 2 third-place finishes last year. Kyle Snyder was 4th both times last year. We don't see the riders who were 1 and 2 in the 30-plus class pre-entered at this time. This class has also got a lot of international flair. How about the British riders coming over? 3 of them in the 30-plus class. Joe DaCosta, Danny Williams, Sam Neville. Dead Good Race Team is going to have a big contingent of riders coming over to the Winter Throwdown, and it's super cool to see riders from all over the world coming into this event. It's not just a stateside affair. We've got Australia represented. We've got the UK represented. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up today on our youth and vet rider preview. It's kind of a crash course and throwing a lot of names at you. And this is probably going to be one of the more chaotic bang, bang, bang of the 3 videos that we're doing, just with so many classes mixed in. But super cool to have so much opportunity for our younger riders who are developing their craft, and then the vet riders who are staying involved in the sport and showing up and putting on great racing. Last week we put out a video showing one of the best battles in the vet classes over the years, that 50 plus main event from 2021 with Walt Bevins, Kenny Dahlin, Richie Rowe, and there's one other rider escaping me at this time, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but that was a super fun race to watch. And so you never know what you're going to get. It's going to be really fun to watch all these classes play out at Winter Throwdown. Again, January 16th through 18th. It's upon us this week. If you haven't already made your plans, I hope you've got a little bit of sick time you can call in. Got to get down to Florida and check out the Winter Throwdown in Callahan, Florida. If you can't be there, Fans Choice has you covered. Corey has partnered with Fans Choice for live streaming of every single Mission Food CTR Flat Track race in 2025. So make sure that you're subscribing to that. If you can't make an event, $9.99 a month or $54.99 for 6 months, and that will still be the on-demand hub for American Flat Track. American Flat Track Live Racing will stay on Flo, but Fans Choice will be the on-demand hub, and they've got classic events. They've got all the American Flat Track past broadcasts dating back to 2017. So yeah, we want to see everybody at the racetrack. There's no better atmosphere than being at the Speedway. So try to get down to Callahan, Florida for the Winter Throwdown, but if you can't, crack open a cold one, alcoholic or non, kick your feet up, hang out with your buddies, and make sure you're tuned into Fans Choice if you can't be at the Speedway. That's going to be it for part 1. We'll catch you tomorrow for part 2 of our Winter Throwdown preview featuring Open Novice Class, Hooligans, 250 Amateur, 450 Amateur, and Open Amateur. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in Callahan.